Hey beautiful people! If you clicked on this video, then you are probably considering a UX bootcamp, but I'm gonna tell you not to do it, and I will tell you all of the reasons why you shouldn't. So, for starters, why should you listen to me? Well, I did a 6-month UX bootcamp, so yeah, I went through the whole shenanigan. Enough said. I'm gonna start off and say that there is nothing wrong with even considering a bootcamp to learn UX because it is there and there's so many of them and a lot of students enroll every day. So yeah, don't be ashamed. It's not your fault that you're thinking about it because it is definitely out there and it is everywhere. I also want to say that if you're a career pivoter and you had started off with something else before jumping on this UX bandwagon, there is also nothing wrong with that. It is a very useful skill to have, especially in today's world where everything is just digitalized. And it's necessary in order to provide high quality services. So yeah, don't be ashamed of that either. Before I get into the deets about why you shouldn't go into bootcamp, I want to go share with you guys why I even considered UX in the first place. So I come from a health background, zero design experience, zero design background. I went to Johns Hopkins and got my public health degree in 2022, and then right after that I worked as a medical sales rep, so I was pretty deep in healthcare. I had considered UX after my medical sales job because I had realized that I missed the creative side of me. But I didn't want to forget my science background altogether. I had done a bunch of research, but I did want to find a perfect medium that could mesh the two together, science and the arts. And UX was the perfect answer for that, because UX involves research plus the design aspect, which is the arts. So now I'm gonna go into why I thought personally doing a UX bootcamp was the right decision for me. So I had two options with how I was gonna go about learning UX as a skill. One, I was either gonna learn it on my own time, so self-study, or two, go into bootcamp. So why did I think that self-study wasn't for me? One, I wanted accountability. I didn't think that I could be consistent if I went on to learn the skill on my own time. All I ever knew in life was how to do school, and so I thought bootcamp was perfect for me because it mimicked that school environment, right? There's deadlines, there's grades, you work with other people. So I was very familiar with that kind of environment. So I pulled the trigger and I said, yeah, I'm gonna sign up for a bootcamp. This was a mistake. Now, I'm going to go through all of the reasons why you shouldn't do bootcamp based off of my personal experiences with it. So let's go through some of the negatives of bootcamp. One, your instructor. I really liked mine, but I've heard for other cohorts that their instructors aren't involved with the cohort, with the students. They kind of just go and read through the slides and then push their students into breakout rooms to figure it all out themselves. And that is like a big no-no, especially for the amount of money that you pay for it. Two, a lot of the content for some reason was super outdated. There were a lot of broken links, and then we kind of learned information that wasn't very relevant to today's time. For example, we had to go and learn how to use Envision, which, yeah, may be helpful, but the way the content was delivered was not very helpful. And besides, everyone's on Figma now, so that is more relevant, and we didn't even really go through that software. So yeah, things like that. The other thing that was like super annoying for me were the assignments. So we had some side projects or just like some activities that we had to do during class that I thought was just a bunch of fluff to try and kill time, because class lasted about 3 hours and it just felt like busy work that didn't really teach us how to do UX. And then the biggest downside of bootcamp was coming out with the same looking portfolios as your friends. You work on the same exact projects, and these projects are meant to be on your portfolio, which is what you show your employers, right? And if you're all working on the same projects, then you're all gonna come out with the same looking portfolios. It's gonna have the same case study content, so you can't really stand out as a competitive candidate. But yeah, those were kind of like the main negatives of bootcamp. So now I'm gonna move on to the positives, because like they exist for a reason. So I hope that they're doing some good out there in the world, or else they should really be shut down if they were just all around crappy. Some positives: I liked my instructor, already mentioned that. He shared a lot of his personal experiences working for companies as a UX designer, and I pulled some very valuable tips and advice that I thought was super useful. I also really liked a couple people in there. In my cohort, I have a lot of friendships that I still keep in touch with to this day, and we worked on a lot of projects together and kind of picked each other's brains, which I enjoyed a lot. And bootcamp does fulfill the promise of getting you out of there with a portfolio in hand. So you do work on 2 to 3 case studies for you to be able to build a portfolio, which is super important when you're applying for jobs. And then the last thing that I will mention, I really liked the front-end development part of it. So we learned how to code HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I thought that that was a really cool portion of the bootcamp, because I hadn't done a lot of coding before. And I found that to be super fun. I saw my code work and come to life. But yeah, bootcamp is not worth your money and time. You can learn UX as a skill in a shorter time frame. You don't have to spend 6 months like how I did. I would say you could learn that skill in less than 2 weeks even, or within a month. It's not hard material. I truly believe anyone can learn this without having to spend months and months on it. You have other options, and the best one is your best friend, YouTube. There are so many high quality content from UX designers here on YouTube that can teach you UX in a much more concise and straightforward manner, and it's free. You don't have to spend so much money on it, okay? The other option, if you really would like to invest on some courses. There are courses that only cost $30 but have the most valuable stuff in there. It gets rid of all that fluff that bootcamps have with their content. Those are like much easier to follow through as well. For the time and the money, bootcamp is really not worth that much. But I'm grateful, right? I can't go back and undo what I did, but I'm super grateful. I did learn UX as a skill. If you're really serious about UX, then really focus on your case studies. Stay away from all of these generic topics for case studies like travel apps, pet apps, and the like, because every beginner designer out there have those. So what I recommend is really think through your previous experiences in life. Think about all of the problems you've faced and the solutions that you're able to provide by creating applications through the use of UX. That's all I have for this video. If you're considering UX, that's super great for you. I would say exhaust all of the free information and resources out there before you go and consider the resources that need your money. You can do it. Don't feel like you're missing out if you're not in a boot camp. Just really be wary of all of the factors if you are still considering. I hope that was helpful for you, and if you have any questions or if you would like to chat, just send me a message. I would love to be helpful for you guys. Let me know what else you'd like to see in this channel. I would like to talk about a lot of other things aside from UX. Yeah, stay tuned for other life videos, and just like go out into the world and be yourself and rock on.